iteka mwemerere amfata ukuboko yeguriye nyagasani nitotijwe rye ubutumwa nzabusohoza iteka mwemerere amfata ukuboko winuyobora inzira zanjye winunga imbere nanjye njya inyuma ndakwiza
Eventually, one must wake up and do it. This year's motto moves us from imagination towards action. I'm delighted to announce that the winning submission came from none other than Sister Dr. Mary Islam, is the one who gave us the motto this year. Please give her a round of applause. If she's around, I will invite her to come forward. Sincerely, if you are around, and you keep our word, we said if your motto means an award, we will give it. So I will ask Sister that we give you a gift. Please give her a round of applause. Sister, congratulations and thank you for giving us words that have become the sermons for our community. Please receive our small token of appreciation, knowing that this will inspire many others to give mottos. A motto printed on banners changes nothing. It becomes meaningful when only it becomes behavior. So it's on the way. Please be patient. Our strategic plan identifies that each year we have a motto to guide our actions. Thank you for giving us these words. We hope we can make them, all of us, our words. Our strategic plan gives us 5 priorities: teaching and learning, research and publication, community outreach. So the gift has come, Sister Zion. At least if you doubt that when we say we will give an award, this is a destiny. It's right. I was on our strategic plan. May I invite you please to read so that we continue to make it our own, so that nothing is just another task. Teaching and learning, research and publication, community outreach, partnerships and linkages, institutional capacity building. These are the summary of our strategic plan. If you put them in a nutshell, they tell us teach, discover, serve, connect, and build. I'm happy to note that in the last 2 years of the strategic plan, a lot has been achieved. We must teach better, ensuring that growth never compromises academic excellence. We must discover courageously, producing knowledge that responds to Africa's questions. We must serve generously, because whatever you keep to yourself will lose. We must connect widely, deepening partnerships at intra and at extra. And we must build sustainably, because whatever we do today, we should be sure that those who come after us will find it sustainable. This year, we begin new programs. The Master of Arts in Spirituality, the Bachelor of Migration, Security, and Diplomacy, the Bachelor of Business Innovation and Social Entrepreneurship, and we expand our Master of Theology with specializations in 4 years. These programs expand the climate beyond its traditional academic frontiers while remaining rooted in our mission. I know your hands are not yet tied. 4 new programs in a year is an achievement. Can you please? And then there is hotel, open distance and e-learning. This is a major horizon for us. It is still needs some work, yet it will allow a human classroom to extend beyond Nairobi. Our vision is not simply to upload notes onto the internet and call ourselves online or digital. We want learning that is technologically innovative and academically rigorous, and one that can reach to be marginalized. The question is no longer whether digital learning belongs to the future. The question is whether we shape the future with quality, integrity, and wisdom. And because I must resist the occupational hazard of principles for presidents explaining everything for myself, I invite our Oder specialist, Dr. Salmon Obiti, to say, give a few brief words on our day. Dr. Obiti, you have the floor. Thank you very much, brother. I take this opportunity of the Osasa to speak briefly about open distance and e-learning. It's a human. Indeed, it's been a journey. And when we began this process, there were a lot that needed to be done, and a lot has been done. There is a lot about open distance and e-learning that is being said, or that people are experiencing outside there. But as rightfully been placed by the father, the principal, I can say that open distance and e-learning is a way to go. I have had the opportunity to interact with several universities while in Commonwealth of Learning, then I can say that there is a lot of hunger for education across the globe. And if you look at the SDGs, especially the SDG 4, that provides for a provision of inclusive education that's accessible to everyone, it can only be rightfully placed that everybody deserves to get access to education. A lot of misconceptions have been there around open distance and e-learning. People are saying that it is inferior. I can tell even from where we are sitting today, Ekima University went through the process of inspection of its open distance and e-learning systems and preparation, and the process was very rigorous. Just like the accreditation of the normal face-to-face programs, open programs are also accredited the same way. This is a way out for every institution, and it is not Ekima alone. Look at the globe. Every major university is trying to go the open way. When COVID-19 struck, people were worried whether education will continue or not. And people ran towards open business learning in trial. Thereafter, they realized that this is the only way that we can have an inclusive education that is accessible to everyone. Some will say that the process is just as the principle rightly placed it, that it is just about watching videos or uploading them to the internet. Yakima University as a developed platform still being improved, but that allows for interactive learning. Learning where a student believes that he is in a classroom. We have a studio, and that studio is not just for recording videos, it is for providing what we call synchronous and asynchronous learning, where learners from wherever they are able to access this education with the feel, with the touch and feel of the classroom. Therefore, let us embrace technology. I'm very pleased that the principal here has benefited also from open distance and e-learning. I also benefited from the same process. That's why I'm very proud about it, because when I was doing my second master's degree in University of East London, I did a blended form of learning. And I can say it was very rigorous, just the same way we can have the face-to-face. Therefore, it is I call for all of us, let us embrace technology so that we are able to provide education that is accessible to everyone, irrespective of separation by geographical boundaries. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Witty. Dr. Witty has a master's in computer science and also a doctorate in computer science. Yeah. I am also delighted to announce that we officially worship the Hekima today. An invitation to the entire community, the entire family of Hekima to take ownership of the mission we cherish and the future we are building together. Ideally, in well-going universities, we should be a good auditorium. Right? Still, I didn't even know to say them. So before we can go sourcing money abroad, we need to begin here to build an auditorium and many things. I'm immensely grateful to the rector of our community, Father Foro, who graciously offered us this space. Please give him a round of applause. And so, for more than 4 decades, the Kima has been sustained by the generosity of Jesuits and many religious congregations, faculty, staff, alumni, friends, and benefactors. The Kima Giving Day invites us and each of us to say the Kima is my responsibility. In the coming days, we will share more information about how everyone can participate. In the interim, the Reverend Dr. Chikere Akpo, Chair of the Advancement Committee, will oversee this initiative. Father Chikere, could you please stand so that people see you when you send an email to them, they know who is sending the email. There it is. I invite the entire community to support him, to support our alumni, our friends, our partners to make this initiative their own. And it is possible. When we launched the first ever academic chair at Nekima, most of its money came from us. So it's possible to do it. No gift is too small when given with love. If we believe in expanding horizon and empowering futures, giving there is a complete way of putting our motto into action. I beg you, even if it's just 100 shillings, 1,000 shillings, why not $1,000? Drop it in that pocket. This brings me to today's intellectual theme, from quick fixes to prophetic interaction, on daring to reinvent the future. We could hardly have a more appropriate scholar to lead us into this conversation. And this is the very Reverend Professor Emmanuel Katongwere, Ugandan priest and professor, and we are deeply honored to have your presence in Tonga. I have not presented you, but I think this is now the time. Would you please stand and we give you a warm welcome? The team asks a difficult question. What happens when institutions become very good at managing crisis, but lose the imagination and leadership to transform the conditions producing the crisis? Prophetic interaction invites us to look beyond technical quick fixes, technical solutions, and reimagine our institutions, our countries, from the standpoint of truth, vulnerability, witness, memory, lament, reconciliation, and hope. Father Katongo, I can assure you that many students in this college have read more. That challenge is certainly universities. The team of today challenges universities. The university can become efficient and yet irrelevant. It can produce graduates without producing wisdom. It can publish papers without illuminating society. It can have excellent Wi-Fi and very poor human connection. It can teach peace while its own corridors contain unresolved conflicts. The Kima must therefore continually ask, are we merely preparing students to fit into the world as it is, or are we forming women and men capable of imagining the world as it ought to be? We look forward to it. And as I move to the conclusion, every academic community briefs new arrivals and departures. We hope that an Nobel will have a safe flight tomorrow to us. Dear Ekima family, I do not know everything this academic year will bring. There will be achievements and disappointments. It's part of life. There will be budgets that we may not know. There will be some widows that may refuse to wait to operate with our 8 programs of 18. But all this, we have been given an extraordinary moment. We are expanding programs not for us, for the mission of society, Jesus. So our greatest expansion must be also the expansion of hearts. If our programs grow but compassion shrinks, if we cannot talk to a brother, to a sister, and celebrate them, we have failed. If our technology improves but our relationship deteriorates, we have failed. If our research increases but Africa's suffering never enters our questions, we keep sinking, yet our continent is sinking, we have failed. An African proverb reminds us one finger cannot pick up a stone. No single office, not mine and this. No school, individual can carry our mission alone. We must work together, discern together, take responsibility together. Schools work together. And if I may add a human footnote, if you want to survive an academic year, support the age. No community will thrive if leadership fails. Those who carry responsibilities and carry them well oftentimes get more responsibilities. Don't complain. At the same time, leadership cannot be reduced to the set of popularity and friendship. Our first responsibility is not to make friends, but to ensure that the team is governed by the way society approaches. We will always seek to be charitable and humane, but charity does not dispense us from difficult questions. You may recall that in a football match, not everyone is a coach. Our measure is not whether everyone is pleased with us, but whether we have saved our mission. Yeah. So, dear friends, the horizon is before us. To our students, dream beyond yourselves. To our faculty, teach beyond the syllabus. And in an era of artificial intelligence, what you teach students may even have studied before. To our researchers, ask questions worthy of Africa's hopes and woes when we move from thinking to truth thinking. To our administrators and staff, remember that every office and system ultimately exists to serve, not for positions. Let us build a schema that is more accessible, yet more rigorous, more digital, yet more deeply human, more international, yet deeply rooted in Africa. May we have the humility to recognize that all is gift, the wisdom to discern what the moment requires, the courage to interrupt when it is necessary. And with this solemnity of our blessed Virgin Mary, we entrust this academic year to the blessed Virgin Mary. May she teach us to say yes to the horizons we cannot fully see, like what happened at the time of the demonstration. Should be looking more at the we have may we see this text. Let me end with a short story which I have shared with the fact that yet we need to this message. When builders constructing a great cathedral began constructing great cathedral, someone asked 3 workers what they were doing. The first worker said, I am cutting a stone. The second said, I am burning my medium. And the third looked up and said, I am building a material. Friends, this year there will be lectures to teach papers to write, publications to make, budgets to balance, emails to answer, and also be listening to introduction to hear by this. As explaining projects to the team, fundraising efforts and problems to solve. But let us never mistake the storms with the activity. We are building people's lives. We are building hope. We are building the human's future with God's help. Above all, we do not simply talk about God, we only talk to God. Let us build it together. Thank you and welcome to this new religion. May God bless you. For what gratitude, appreciation to our principal, and as we say, let's give it a go. At this time, allow me to invite our mother. She is well known. And this mother of ours, we are used to see the mother, but we ask, where is the father? Today, we have the honor also of seeing the father. So as we invite the chair of the HUC Council, let me request Dr. Mugori. Just stand and we see the father who is most of the time absent, at least physically. So Mr. Mugori is the man behind permission of this, our mother, and Mr. Dr. Mugori, we are very, very grateful. He is a consultant. This is also your home, and we appreciate your contribution, your family's contribution to HUC. Thank you very much. Mrs. Mohor, you don't need any formal introduction. For the new students, Mrs. Mohoro is the chairperson of the HUC Council, and this is a legal entity established by the government, and every university must have a council. And so she approves a couple of policies. She has been very active of late, and we still have more waiting. We are very grateful. The you come please address us and all of us to appreciate. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Let me give a Kenyan thing and stand on the protocols established before me, so I'm not really bad books. I am glad and really delighted to be here today. This is a place I have, not only to serve, but to talk about, to visit, to listen and great community. So thank you for taking the invitation. And I also want to appreciate my husband for doing the part today and arrangement. With my very good with support, I'm able to serve with to see the responsibility. So I don't take it for granted. Here, very well, appreciate my grant. Back to the day that is before us. As we gather to evaluate the third academic year at HUC, we do so with hearts filled with gratitude for beginning this farm and the renewed commitment to this institution's mission. We recognize the dedication, the resilience, the collective efforts that have sustained HUC over the years, positioned it in the center of academic excellence, intellectual inquiry, and holistic condition. The Council is totally grateful for the work that happens throughout the second year. Many things happened, a lot of work went into it. I can assure you, bringing on board the new programs gave a few people sleepless nights. So that effort is well appreciated and recognized. It is therefore befitting that we begin this academic year in the spirit of reflection, appreciation, and forward-looking purpose. We recall with appreciation the theme that guided us our previous academic year, the depths of our dreams and heights of aspiration. That day invited us to reflect on the power of vision and ambition in shaping academic and personal growth. It challenged us to think deeply, aspire boldly, and to recognize that education is not merely the accumulation of knowledge, but the formation of individuals capable of contributing meaningfully to society. It reminded us that learning engages both the intellect and the character, shaping individuals who are thoughtful, responsible, and committed to the common good. Today, however, we are called to take to the next step. The future we dreamed about is no longer distant. The future is now. As we build upon the foundation of our dreams and aspirations, we enter a new academic year guided by our institutional motto, expanding horizons, empowering futures. This year's theme carries an even greater urgency. We are not preparing for a future that will eventually arrive. We are preparing for a future and creatively creating that future that is already here. The future is now. We see it in the rapid transformation of technology, the rise of artificial intelligence, the changing nature of work, the growing importance of digital competence, the increasing interconnectedness of societies, and the complex challenges facing humanity. These realities are not merely matters for tomorrow. They are shaping our classrooms, our professions, our communities, and our lives today. Therefore, our response as a university cannot be postponed. When we focus on expanding horizons, this particular aspect of our being speaks to the pursuit of knowledge as a continuous and a dynamic process. In a university setting, learning must go beyond the classroom, beyond the disciplinary boundaries. It requires curiosity, critical thinking, openness to new ideas, and engagement with diverse perspectives. At HUC, therefore, we must continue to create an academic environment where inquiry is encouraged, dialogue is valued, innovation is embraced, and intellectual growth is sustained. But expanding our horizons today means more than simply acquiring more knowledge. It means being prepared to reimagine what is possible. Technological advancements, social transformation, economic shifts, artificial intelligence, environmental challenges, and the global interdependence requires graduates who are adaptable, innovative, digitally competent, ethically grounded, and globally aware. We must therefore continue to strengthen our research, our interdisciplinary collaboration, digital literacy, innovation, entrepreneurship, experiential learning, critical thinking, as essential components of our academic mission. The question before us is no longer simply what will the future require. The more important question is what is the future requiring of us? And the answer is clear. It requires courage to learn, courage to innovate, courage to adapt, and courage to build. I have repeated the words digital literacy innovation so many times, meaning that what is okay today, tomorrow will be obsolete. If the future is now, then it means that our innovation, our experiential learning will not be constant. Instead, change will be constant. So to our students, if you miss a class and imagine that you're going to copy notes to your colleagues, the next class may start differently. And you will wonder, how come what I copied is not aligning? Only that a new idea has come, the lecturer has a new perspective, so you may benefit. If the future is now, then empowerment cannot wait. They go hand in hand. We must equip our students today with the knowledge, skills, values, confidence they need to shape the world they will inherit. We hope and purpose to prepare them not to merely fit into existing systems, to become thinkers, but to become thinkers, innovators, professionals, entrepreneurs, leaders, and citizens capable of transforming those systems for the better. To our students, this is what I say to you. Do not wait for the future. Begin creating it now. Approach your studies with discipline, courage, curiosity, and determination. Take full, take full advantage of the opportunities available to you. Engage actively in your learning. Challenge yourself with lecture. Learn beyond your discipline. Embrace technology while remaining guided by wisdom and ethics. Do not be afraid to ask difficult questions. Do not be afraid to explore new ideas. Do not be afraid to fail. Learn and try again. Learn and learn and relearn. We learn by learning and unlearning. You will not learn alone. You will always have the partnership. So as you pursue your degrees, remember that your degree will open the doors, but character, creativity, competence, courage will determine what you do once those doors are open. I always tell students, if you stood outside the principal's office, right at the door, you know, it says come in, but then you can't just turn the knob to open the door and come in. You will remain outside. Remember, there is always some action. To our faculty, and especially to the ones who are joining us, we warmly welcome you to the kingdom, and I believe you will find it a fruitful experience. And as I extend sincere appreciation to your dedication to teaching, research, mentorship, and information, Your role is central to the intellectual life of this institution. In a world where information is increasingly available at the click of a button, the role of an educator is becoming even more important. So our students do not only need information, they need wisdom, discernment, context, mentorship, and inspiration. May you continue to challenge students to think critically, question assumptions, embrace evidence, pursue truth, and develop the competencies necessary for their professional and personal success. As educators, let us also challenge ourselves to remain lifelong learners. The future is now for us to experience. To our administrators and the support staff, their contribution remains indispensable for the smooth running of the institution. Their professionalism, efficiency, creativity, and commitment to create an enabling environment in this teaching and learning institution is really appreciated. As we move into this new era, we continue to embrace new ways of working, new technologies, and new approaches of serving our students and our institution. To our partners, the educators, alumni, parents, and friends of HUC, we express our sincere gratitude for your continued support. Your collaboration strengthens our capacity to deliver quality education and expand our impact. The challenges of the present and the opportunities of the future requires partnerships that are bold, strategic, and forward-looking. The currency in today's organizational development is collaboration. That is the current strategy that any organization is looking forward to. So at HUC, we do appreciate all the collaborations that we have continued to do. So as we celebrate 43 years of academic growth and institutional development, we are reminded that our progress has made it possible through collective efforts, shared vision, and sustained commitment. 43 years is not merely a number. It is a testimony of resilience, faith, perseverance, and institutional purpose. But our history must not become a reason why we remain comfortable. Our heritage gives us a foundation. It must not become our ceiling. We cannot afford to say that we have always done it this. That those ceilings are breaking every day. The achievements of yesterday should inspire us, but the needs of today must challenge us. The possibilities of tomorrow must motivate us. The 43rd academic year therefore calls us to renew our commitment to academic excellence, innovation, relevance, and institutional growth. Let us expand our intellectual horizons by remaining grounded in integrity, professionalism, respect for diversity, and human dignity. Let us embrace change with confidence and creativity while remaining faithful to the core values that define HUC. Let us move from simply discussing innovation to creating it. Let us move from talking about digital transformation to living it. Let us move from preparing students for a future that is coming to equipping them for a future that is already here. Ladies and gentlemen, the future is now. It is in the students sitting in our classrooms today. It is in the research being conducted today. It is in the ideas being developed today. It is in the technology we are learning about today. It is in the choices we make today. And it is the kind of institution that contribute to it. The future will undoubtedly present complex challenges that require working beyond resources. Yet we are confident that through collaboration, dedication, innovation, and a shared sense of purpose, we can continue to empower individuals and contribute meaningfully to society. May the 2026-2027 academic year be a year of bold thinking, meaningful discovery, innovations, achievements, and transformation. May it be a year in which knowledge expands, skills are strengthened, opportunities are created, futures are empowered. And above all, may it be a year in which we recognize that the future is not something we wish for. It is something we build beginning now. As we begin this chapter, let us move forward together with unity of purpose and a shared commitment to excellence. Expanding horizons, acquiring futures, the future is now. I wish every member of the HUC community a successful and productive, innovative, and fulfilling academic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Mohoro, for those inspiring words. And as we normally do, is clapping is a sign of appreciation and gratitude for our mother. Could we clap for her? A couple of words, that's just one word that summarizes, especially her challenge to us is innovation. And let me say that Hekima, the programs at Hekima are CPE compliant, means competence-based education, which is a new directive by the government. They are CPE compliant. And in fact, if you want, Hekima, especially the program in theology and peace studies, have been prophetic in this sense. We talk of contextual theology and we talk of peace studies. That actually is a program that arose out of a need. And what the government wants now is no longer rote learning, cramming, but what they want is competence. In other words, no one in the future is going to ask you for certificates. People will award you a job for competence. This is what the government invites us. To us instructors, we have a challenge. The government doesn't want professors and doctors. The government wants facilitators of learning. And facilitators means that we are not beginning with tabula rasa. We are beginning with people with capacities and dispositions. And my responsibility is to facilitate learning. Thank you very much. But at this time, may I not preempt what our guest speaker, Professor Katongole, has. May I invite the principal to cordially present and invite our guest speaker. Which I'm saying. Distinguished guests, colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen, it is both a privilege and a joy to introduce our inaugural lecturer, the Reverend Professor Mehmet Katongole. There are people whose curriculum would completely tells us what they have accomplished. But there are others whose lives tell us what they have given themselves to. But I don't know. Belong to both categories. There's an accomplished scholar, a deep priest, teacher, author, and priest builder. But above all, he's an African Christian intellectual who has spent his life asking a compelling question. What difference does Christianity make in life? What difference can the gospel make in the myriad histories of our people? A man who questions even his own identity. Born in Uganda and ordained as a priest in the Diocese of Kampala in 1987, Dr. Congole's journey has brought together history, liberal scholarship, and deep commitment to Africa. He earned his doctorate in philosophy from the Catholic University of London in Belgium, graduating in Mali. His academic journey has taken him from seminaries and universities in Africa to Duke University and today the University of Notre Dame, where he serves as professor of theology and peace studies. He also serves as the extraordinary professor of ecclesiology at Stellenbosch University in South Africa. Before joining the University of Notre Dame, he was associate professor of theology and world Christianity at Duke University and significant country, the founding or director of the Youth Center for Reconciliation. This tells us something important about the kind of scholar we welcome today. In the society of Jesus, where our identity and mission is reconciliation, according to our Christian general revelation. For the Catholic, theology cannot remain safely within lecture halls and libraries. Theology must enter the places where people suffer, where communities are divided, where memories are wounded, and where hope appears impossible. And where there is a conflict. This scholarship has therefore consistently raised the question of the most urgent pressing pattern: violence and reconciliation, ethnicity and belonging, memory and forgiveness, politics and Christian identity, lament and hope, ecology, and human flourishing. These major works include the sacrifice of Africa, the political theology for Africa, born from lament on the theology and politics of hope in Africa, the journey of reconciliation, theology and politics of hope in Africa, the journey of reconciliation, groaning for new creation in Africa, and this most recent book, published recently, Who Are Moving? Who Was Said? The Invention of Love in Sub-Saharan Africa, the It authored several books and several chapters, and as I looked at this CV, there's more than 70 peer-reviewed chapters and journals. But perhaps what makes Father Katongo's intellectual contribution particularly compelling is the refusal to allow scholarship to become detached from life. It's not interested in knowing how many angels advancing on the mission. It does not simply write about hope. It seeks to calculate it. Is co-founder and president of the Veteran Learning Institute in Uganda, an initiative that brings together integral ecology, biodiversity, sustainable agriculture, spirituality, education, and the formation of young leaders. In this sense, this theology has soil under fingernails. It moves from books to communities, from ideas to practices. And from Muslim Africa's move to imagining and thinking of possibilities. Reading these writings from this point, his intellectual reach is equally remarkable across universities and international program, from Harvard University, Cambridge University, Oxford, Northland, the Paul Crichton University, of course now the key. Africa The Bible says is not destined merely to endure testimonies. Through courageous imagination, faithful Christian witness, and practices of reconciliation, another future Christmas. I told you with passion and say it's not even enough to be a Christian. Because if you are not going to change the conditions on the road to jail, you will remain people and correct me if and perhaps this is why Katongo is such a fitting person to address such a Kima knowledge, to address as the Kima begins its fourth third academic year. Our motto this year calls us to expanding horizons and inspiring tomorrow. But Katongo's life and scholarship reminds us tomorrow is not something we simply wait for. The chair of the council has said, tomorrow must be imagined, and it is now. Discernment, captivated, and courageous guilt. We are here because we need to go through the Father Emmanuel, you come to the Kima not simply as a distinguished professor in Notre Dame, not merely as a celebrated African theologian. We hope one day we have your portion, your heaven. We come home to an African theological community, peace community, migration community, to name a few, wrestling with many of the questions that have animated your vocation. That's one of the reasons we invited you. We challenge us to ask what kind of leaders must our universities form. Ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged today to receive a principal's pastoral life heart has enriched this scholarship. A scholar whose scholarship has saved the church and an African intellectual whose imagination infuses both despair and his optimism. He joins the recent speakers, Professor Lavo Lovic from Africa, Vladimir Jackson from Africa, Dr. One spoke last year, I'm going to forget his name. David Neuhaus from Africa, and there is now a fourth from Africa. It's not always just good to look outside, we have all of them. And then invite others in the future. It is therefore my singular honor, on behalf of the entire Tekima University College family, to welcome you and to present you to present your inauguration. Please welcome Father Emmanuel. Tekima is yours. The floor is yours. Thank you, David.
Welcome. Thank you, Pastor, for the warm introduction. Welcome. Your Excellency, the Ambassador, Your Excellency, the President, the Justice Conference of the African Madagascar, Your Excellency, my dear friend, former student, Dr. Isita Piinga, the Provincial, Your Excellencies, the Chairperson of the Council. Thank you for your beautiful words. Also to recognize Father Emmanuel, the rector. Thank you. Your community for the very welcome. It's very to me. This whole week, the Kima community has been extraordinarily generous and hospitable to me. I have nothing but gratitude for that my Lord. Thank you myself for welcoming me again, welcoming me home to the kingdom. Many people have asked me whether I am a Jesuit priest. I don't know how to take it. I don't know whether to celebrate that or say, no, 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 please, no, no, no. As far as I've embraced it, I welcome it, and I'll jokingly say that in my next life, if I am a priest, I would like to be a Jesuit priest. So I'm coming home here at the dinner. And yeah, faculty, students, yeah, at the Kima University, this kind of very, very difficult time of history. I'm so happy to know that the theme of baking has been the first theme this morning and throughout the year through the theme of expanding horizons. This is a theme that is very, very dear to my heart as a priest, as a scholar, as an athlete. This was a theme of dating. What are we building? How to build a new future in Africa? Because we stand as a critical chapter. At the end of the First World War in 1919, the British poet William Butler Yeats wrote a famous poem, The Second Coming. Europe was devastated, there was uncertainty following the collapse of the war. And he wrote a poem, The Second Coming, in which, among other things, he says, the falcon comes here, the falconer things fall apart. The center cannot fall. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood dimmed child is loosed, and therefore the ceremony of incense is one. The best are all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. The center cannot fall. Things fall apart. My dear Hekima community, I want to suggest 100 years after Butler Yeats wrote the second canon, we find ourselves in a similar situation of anxiety and uncertainty where things go apart. The center can no longer hold. Whether it is from the violence of the wars in Gaza, in Ukraine, the wars and the DRC in Sudan, various wars around the world, wars of Francis Ford, the one war that fought piecemeal, whether it is long forms of dictatorship around the world, the US, Russia, to Hungary, to Tanzania, to Uganda, visible impunity, whether it is the global warming, seeing unprecedented rising in global temperatures this summer, we live in a world of both themselves, COVID crisis, COVID crisis, not one, but the magnitude of crises coming together in two places unfolding simultaneously, reinforcing each other and threatening others. and the people. Hey, to make matters worse, institutions and leaders that we have hitherto trusted to provide a sense of stability and direction and help canvas, whether it is the Ukraine, Europe, the United States, was those institutions are themselves in disarray. Things indeed fortunate, essential and all. In the wake of this crisis, we witness two reactions. On the one hand, there is a reaction of retrenchment, a reaction of the shrinking of the political space of our common home, of our shared humanity, which some make it great again, make it first is the model. Within this retrenchment, this shrinking, politics and religion are both mobilized towards the project of power and extractive accumulation for the limited or small group of the Christians. Those which have self-interest in power. It is all about our small, our small country, our small nation, our small clan, our small tribe. And I see this really ridiculous in many countries in Africa and the world. So that is one reaction. On the other hand, we see an action that says, this is a movement we can take advantage of to accelerate our own advance. Advance the visions of people, individualism, the visions of people democracy, their own countries, the vision of American self, not the vision of liberty, freedom, the individual, the community, all in Africa, it's a multi-racial culture. Some to be more central, the shining one America. It is all about the game. That's culture. These two extremes might seem different, but in fact, they are united on the power. They are simply, they all present same current crisis and represent the same response. That means a response of people for fixes. The direction to the fixes might differ. Nevertheless, they offer the same approach with technical fixes. Either to expand knowledge or contractions. To expand the UN, regain the UN, or dismantle it. Set biblical requirements to either channel or expand international programs. Either reduce or expand the fuel, the fossil fuel industry. We provide technical fixes. That's your actions. That's what the constituencies, you know the constituencies. Micro countries that are small countries in your city, all of these constituencies, yet I have said, it might just be the narrow interest trying of this big London. So these all this process, you don't really actually question the underlying story, the underlying imagination, our self-interest, the capacity accumulation and domination, and just with the working ways of who is benefiting from that. In other words, these both approaches they represent a shrinking, if you like. Not an expansion, but a shrinking of the moral and political imagination. They are all understood that was optimistic. Optimists are very conservative. Optimists trust the essential goodness of your God. Obviously, it's just not being paid. You can just perhaps make it through adjustment, but there is nothing fundamental common around the person. Those approaches in the very optimistic because they think about the president as the event that there is no other way to arrange our common shared humanity otherwise than in the present frames of reference. That is the truth. That is not true. There is something fundamentally wrong about comparison condition. We shall be fine friends. We are experiencing crises that point to the very erosions of the foundations of our life together. What we need is not optimism. What we need is hope. It gives you the honest assessment that we are in trouble, serious trouble. Things fall apart, essential and more forward. What we have here today in our society, what does we keep and what does we have and what do we have these days, one body in Christ. What we witness is the moral and spiritual bankruptcy of the house that we have built. What we witness in this union of the civilization that we have come to know. Our present world that is built on individual promises of nation state sovereignty, on extractive liberal capitalism and modern individualism is over. Rearranging the furniture within this house will not do. The foundations of the house are runaway. What you need are not technical experts but that you need to fix this house. What you need are not lovers. We need poets and prophets to help us imagine and dream of a new house for the new man. Hope begins with that discussion question that the psalmist asked in Psalm 11. When the foundation are destroyed, what can be best do? This is where we are. This is where the work of hope begins and is situated in the foundations, in the wings. This is why hope and lament belong together. There is no hope without lament. That is what that is why to say that what we need is hope is to say is what we need is lament. Please hear me out. Don't dismiss me quickly as a preacher. Yes, I'm a preacher, but I'm not a political theorist. Contrary to the usual assumptions, the amendment is not a concerning private sentiment or expressing sorrow. The amendment is a deeply political piece. This is the work that is expected. This is a work that is really through the story and the work of Prophet Jeremiah becomes very instructive. Leading through Syria, crisis that we are living in, and the way he responds is through lament. Jeremiah lived, I believe, it was in time in the life of Israel. He used during the time when the small kingdom developed, the smaller tales, and in such a very young age, with kind of his prophetic ministry under various kings before, during the whole Jerusalem. He was also carried into exile. His ministry in Jesus of works. And the hearing of the Maya, he said, this is what he said, I have set you this day over nations and other kingdoms to plant up and break down, to destroy and overthrow, and to build and plant. Three sets of words. One of them, break down, destroy, overthrow, and build and plant. The part of the prophet conveys a vision of prophetic ministry centered around two complementary tasks: critique and evangelism. Critique and evangelism. The right is what calls for street together. Critique the one thing and evangelism the other. The right is the good. So the nature of preaching, if the nature of preaching, before the destruction of Jerusalem, Jeremiah provided a series of warnings to the people. Wherever the people want to be the punishment about the living destruction. The people are described as numb. They have become stupid children who have lost understanding. The foolish and senseless people who have eyes that cannot see, who have ears that cannot hear. Mere words will not do to talk without numbness. And so God instructs Jeremiah to mourn and evaluate her creature to mourn. O Joshua, O my people, who have sung forth the mourn ashes, let mourning for the people around the sun. Most differentiation concerning the destruction behind people is a progress. Obviously, Jeremiah's invitation into the land was meant to be there. Instead, Jeremiah was bound up and thrown into the dungeon. Shouts here, what is starting our peace? Eventually, this will describe the whole plan to exile to the rest of the community, which of course heightens Jeremiah's own lament. And so the seasons laments with the poems Jeremiah calls out his soul, crying out, all my head were waters, that my ears a fountain of tears, that I might be day and night in the flame of the Joshua of my people. So it emerges actually from this conversation of Jeremiah, it's really from the whole book of the book of Jeremiah is not public. But it is from the knowledge in the mind, but the mind and here is the way we reflect. So the book of Jeremiah is the point of Jeremiah's tears. Why does he not just announce those judgments and simply offer the warning to these people? Why must he lament and wail if it's not distributed? What does he see? What is the dream to the lambs? The person of the Noah's laments indicates that his lamentous tears actually operate at his different levels. First, Rahim serves as a decisive social critique, an incisive social critique, which the prophet exposes the tendency that is on the part of history's social and political life, where the spiritual sees as completely disappeared, for the institutional and regular inflection, where the leaders have become fat and sleek. Those kings have oppressed the poor. Jeremiah's ministry puts you to the level to the priests and the Levites. The last, they should know better and should expose their wickedness, the unjust structures and the evil social structures that were present before that they will not. Instead, they participate in the same politics of life and self-interest. They offer consoling words, tell the people, peace, brothers, peace. And so, much better to treat the movement people lightly, saying peace, Allah, peace. Decisive social achievement. Secondly, Jeremiah probably perceives the grief of a dying institution and brings it to expression. He points to the unfathomable covenant as the underlying reason behind Israel's temporary destruction. The abandonment of the different. Even as name the various social sins, injustices, corruption, violence, abuse of the vulnerable, these social or horizontal elements, vices, are connected to an underlying capital dimension. They have abandoned the covenant of God. They have rebelled. They have forgotten God. This is a very interesting retreat. The sinner of crisis describes in relation to the environmental crisis. It has names in environmental issues of pollution, destruction of fauna and biodiversity, with external deserts, as the fascist explained. These external deserts are broken equals the internal deserts, the slope the internal deserts. Yes, the Testament shows the moral and spiritual bankruptcy that is on the part of the nation, the politics, and for him is connected with the abandonment of the covenant. Thirdly, Jeremiah's tears addresses the reflection of God's own tears. In fact, as we begin now, Christian intersperse within the Jeremiah's own tears. God himself breaks in with his own tears. So that now again, quite often, it is difficult to know who is really, who is weeping. Jeremiah or God. I cherish the Lord with grief is upon me. My heart is sick within me. Oh, my bed will waters. My eyes are covered with tears, so that I might weep day and night for the slain of the affliction of my people. Sister, what is serious? That Jeremiah weeps not only because he presents God to the people, he, Jeremiah, participates directly in the behind the scenes of protection and thus in the behind us, in the night suffering and weeping. As a form of social critique, Jeremiah's tears have come to reveal and draw control the anguish nature of its participants. The first definition of martyrs is that the martyrs are also to a new social environment, a new social reality, and thus an invitation of the community into its new future. That the prophets can sees that participates in and describes as the new covenant. The tears of Jeremiah in a way are a way of seeing into the future. And this requires a new spiritual and moral foundation that Jeremiah's fight as the new president. This is what makes Jeremiah's laments an energizing discipline, and energizing discipline of social imagination. Let's share a few words about this intensive history to see in the In his call, the prophet is commanded to pluck out rebellion, destroy, and overthrow. His not preaching, also is commanded to build lamps. And his lament, the prophet is able to see through what is taking place in the life. And therefore, this night, especially over frustration, and the process of healing, this gives us a new order, a vision of a holy flourishing in the city and the countryside. People started Israel together again. They shall come and sing the loud and Mount Zion of the grain, the wine, and the oil, and over the yard of the floor and the oil. Their life shall be like water garden, and they shall nourish no more. See no more. So Jeremiah, this restoration symbolizes English people with no name recognize with no name. That's what I was. The thought that is used to know name is Yada. Yada, which is a symbol that is made for sexual intimacy. The no name that husband and this is what makes it for always name the promise of God. The tears, the pain, the pain are how this prophet pass of energizing, of envisioning, of imagining the future in which the God was Lord blessing, from judgment to God, from prison to energizing, to teaching people national ministry, knowledge, to bring people to get the promises of this newness, as a flock of them to their needs. This is the word of God. This is the book that Jeremiah is engaging. Out of this aging can participate in God's own purpose, and thus has come to see clearly, to know intimately the sexual knowledge, not only the idea, not only the whisper, but the means, and the deep participation of touching know the condition, the possibility some new social order. For the new social order, it has a new global spiritual foundation. Now, this is a new covenant. Now, when it goes in this word project, we have that the Lord's living ministry, not that this thing has ever been as and we have principle communication. It is a decisive principle intervention. Moreover, because we bring this context, it becomes clear that the mother has mentioned others in ancient Syria that we over 2,000 years ago is a text. One of the years and sensitivity on not only political and economic development. Only political and the big force and certain players structured not only but it's what's the last. The profession is not complexity for this. Even lesson for dangerous. It's not from some technical feature of advice without the same pressure. This mistake and the memory of the way the minimum strength. This is not some technical features of how fiction system. This is not something the officials of the monitor arbitration, monitor new elections. Can you find this as an ombudsman that the little bit is going to what in happiness, there is a trend or even trying to find this as an ombudsman that really point of answer and the what is there. That's not what is important. People find ways of what putting the setting and what went to the chairboard. You know, that would give one of the expectation of the resource. The issue that's not going to happen is to put in the beginning, in the construction, the blood working at the foundation that is in the society. Far from the political and economic realizations of the problem political competitive system, it is subjecting the colonial modernities that center the self-interest and expression of the poor and wealth, the profit, the sophistication, the wickedness, and the society. The prophet is made in the power language. They have effort and achievement to be counted. A different external which have previously force by taking capital problem to benefit the combination of society. The engaged more public is still on public scale, but the reality was being public the playing is having to the prophet never got technical sensory under the is open and new French social English. This knowledge is the internet from somebody or the condition of the stability of the community society. This knowledge is a form of regulating a way of engaging the present with the potential of the action suddenly that not only protects what the choices and display of peace together is at the same time the participation in and invitation into the newness of the non-violent reality that produces non-hunger religion. What was this mean that that's what kind of Russian politics is this? For the imagining who knows anything that resembles that of people being of national grounded meant when she was to go from the number models and outstanding evaluation. That's just the basically. I think that we should get the name of this country. Begin with boss with one gives you all partnership of the family, the family, the struggle, and security. Who becomes an addition of them that time mentioned man the one side is still unfolding, dividing one that the millions of refugees possible not one that the family and seriously suggests different forms of solidarity. Including the refugees, whereby the refugees, inviting the refugees, Piazon, inviting economic people, their homes, to succumb to the fear of violence, for which there is a suspension. What is almost you? What is it? Taking us from open statements and as the key lies is what they often said, or their feelings that can be said, that can be seen on the eyes of others. Things that can be seen on the eyes of others. The seeing that was required by you is the same as the other. That infinite absolute knowledge and frustration because one can wish that was people accordingly and see something death that has this picture. And this is prayer among this the as close remaining before everything. For him, on the participation in Christ from something and death, there's one who is God, then God, I can actually that's not really right. This is this what is served as the way of Christ, the Son of God who was born in the family of Israel. Everything is for the Christ that we can live in joy, hope, and substantial, while the both become such together in the forms of substantial, even as it lives for the child of God. For us here, if we are not guests as words or spiritual recommendations, this was a compelling evolutionary social vision. A social vision founded not on evidence, but on the man-word blood of God. It's nothing that word of law cannot be the foundation for solid and lasting peace. We must remember that law is always something that's those who love peace want to build structures of justice to beliefs in life. These structures, justice, forgiveness, and love, and love not later on, church and to grow and require the necessary social, political, and economic institutions, the civilization of man. This, you see, is this means visualization. It's the same human animal test of pretending and realizing that we see in the life for our participation in God's game. Like Jeremiah was in a cities and in fact started within the reality of this conflict in different societies, a different politics, rather than a different language. Like Jeremiah was here. It's not simply a point of what can hold that in all present village. It's not merely a point for justice and reconciliation that we created. You will not be satisfied with the mere legal and administrative adjustments within the framework of the current politics of the executive economics. This will take the it is invoking a totally new vision of society. And this new vision of society, it is not the generals, the kabutas, the hagames, the enelgavas who control history. It is God. And just like Jeremiah, the mere invocation of God will not do. Most people will not be satisfied as she again goes to become more God fearing. Also, again goes to both judge more, or donate more into the baskets, make more donations, or provide tax exemptions for the church. You want to be satisfied. He was not merely calling and looking for looking after the absolute generals. But Jeremiah was looking at their marks of righteousness, seeking positive ecological transformation, to bring the society in their hearts in the new cities. This is a political and ambitious nature of prophets, the Maya and the Spina, and it's also what makes this one endless. For where they themselves stand believing and see this new vision, where they see clearly and participating, the other, the reality around them, the people around them are standing and okay, other different levels. The prophet Thus, we can't bridge acts of government as they are dictated in the object to be in society, always just having the ship of the way. But it's such a matter of glory that there is a state Shamatella was 24, but he requires the church to just present the new testament. To every beyond this kind of real spiritual warfare of the gradual family again, that it can be entirely within the churches and then we get this is the giant invitation that we're not going to provide. And let's see Christianity become the construction science of the society, another scope of being together, another humanity, another system, actually, another vision of politics. Then I go on plans, say, friend, I'm not saying yes, the story we know very well. She to realize that the society that's grounded in this kind of real economic realities, the structural accumulation, and the future to make havoc in society. She sees that very clear from how the basketball is. As much as she realizes that the question big impediment is to connect the struggle with the community, the women, religion, and the function between that connection instead of the attitude. This one was self-fulfilled, all the ability to survive, as she said, to see the people eat quality medicines, the environment, the coaches, the knowledge. Of this kind of beliefs, but one of the process and interests of the beliefs. And this is the injustice law of one having is the first level of resistance. But you have known that working with this one I use you not working to touch trees in their communities would not realize the goodness and the foundation that may move from one tree to more 50 million trees that would realize the whole movement and the eventually bring down the sovereignty of our in others that you see outline of this slow, painful, declining efforts of the convention in this society of Kenya or Africa. This is the political life of London's peace, peace, cheap, and let me conclude, friends. What does this mean for the university polytechnic diploma at the start for the new academic year? Which means that our education enterprise must be placed within the culture of where we are, within the cycle of the new future, within the macro ourselves, a cycle, another society, another humanity, another system, another story, another imagination of the When we must it becomes a construction site. The universal as a construction site. The key of all the new electric system founded in the biggest national civilization and extractive accumulation is not sustainable. In fact, it is all that what the weakness and symptom of the moral must be put bankruptcy and mental trust. We need to end to invent the future. For the universal leader construction site like theirs to invent the future was suggestively tasks all grounded with this education environment. One form which all minds prepare from the elementary developers. We need skills of analysis of our situation, skills of analysis, We need an education that can help us to see clearly our situation. We need an education system that is grounded in amends. Amends is the ability to see and name what is going on without bringing it to consolation. And peace, peace language, we need an education that is able to dissect and resist those foundations of peace. Treat like the movement. Obviously, the good and rich teacher is finally education. Education that is able to move beyond the traditional cycles of academic specialization. I'm going sociology, I'm going archaeology, I'm going science. That is one that's invented is one person and ideas. We need an education system that is able to run this kind of things and make sure this way to learn. This is important, also is inevitable, theory, environmental, economics, is indispensable, national affairs, this happens, IT, all that wonderful. It would be into conversation, into an operation to anyone, into an operation another such for the new society. Difficult in terms of speaking on the education is important if you are going to form which remind us when the viewers of the channel of the swap plan out, let down, destroy, and afford. But friends, that is the business. Secondly, we need an education system that is form progress or not able to build and patience. That is the second task. Forming committed individuals. Our education system cannot make people abstract and academic. This school must be transform the world and not just to explain it, to change it positively rather than just science, to create history, not just to interpret. This must be committed to form raise people. I think Sankara over time, Sankara you cannot target and make change without deciding to bring madness, without the ability to turn back in all wonders, not to invent the future. I wish everyone as a construction site would come to be known as a place where it's going to praise the individuals with the Sankaras and individuals over time and formed. Please cannot remain poorly as not just remain with you. We praise people who can communicate in love and courage. For this significant as a construction site. Construction sites are blessed. Which are very important. Age of the careful and the experts, the education efforts for forming of this policy, poles, and profits for the government. That is where the construction work that reinforces the civilization of the district. We can serve as the experiment, as the model, and as the way to extend and giving new ideas, new structures that are pointed to justice, to understanding, to listening to one another, or to the processes of governance and this with social organization, justice, country, and healthy, this is our integration in the nation. Thirdly, and finally, the university is no construction site, in the capitals. Need all the theories, all the statistics, all the engineering that we need. I think we want to contemplate, we need education for government, shaped by and around storms. Not only big stories, the story of Africa, the story of the world, the story of America, the story of modernity, the story of God. We need these big stories. And we so many stories that we put into the white lives. He was the anti-service, the science to come. the people with more information. And we mentioned how much we which were foolish, to still don't have contract. Innovation is important. Innovation inform us. Yet we also need stories. Stories not only inform us, they inspire us. Moreover, it is through such stories that we grasp the facilities and the abilities of the past inform us, namely the past preparing to invent for the future. Stories inspire hope and invite us into that same exciting history of complete and engaging for this new world, the new Africa, of the different world around the goal is that the Kina comes to be like the most controlled sites. As the Kina comes to be known as a place where this exciting education, enterprise, and adventure, the forming peaceful mind and belief and greatness leaders is vigorously taken through the land of which was strongly determined. With friends, this year we are taking up being an exciting year of learning, of discovery, and participation together into those disciplines of thought, moment, of Africa, which is to say, big challenge to the people of Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Katogole. And as usual, was that the best way to appreciate it? Was that the best way? I think I would if we have a one way to appreciate our inaugural speaker, but let me show one thing. The process of choosing an inaugural or rather a public speaker at Yakima is a discerning process, which begins everyone is invited. I would be very interested to know who chose Professor Katogole. I hope he'll be rewarded or she'll be rewarded. But you can see the process was guided by the Spirit. We met in our cities. We were guided by the Spirit because the way the prof you have connected various dimensions of life. There's a biblical scholar, there's a sociologist, anthropologist. I don't know whether you have ever applied for any political post, but I'm not going to ask. But you can see the way he has connected all this. We are very, very grateful, Professor. So the Reverend Dr. Ambo Chikere is the one who gave the name for the speaker. And this probably we would be a gift. Initially, I had not planned that. I thought I would do that, but he's the one who gave the name. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Dr. Chikere, remember, I have campaigned for you, so we are shared. So for now, just to give you some direction, it's not that I'm not conscious of time. I am even much more soon. But we delayed for a whole hour. And I think for me, it's our day. It's the Kima day. And when I came here, I planned to celebrate the Kima. So I'm conscious of that. So don't worry that is he aware? I have a problem. But just to give you of how things will unfold shortly, we will invite Professor Olado Ludovic to give a brief response to the lecture, and Professor Lado, who is the current founder of our new school, School of Arts and Social Sciences. And a couple of things about him is that he also is a sociologist, anthropologist, having attained a doctorate from Oxford, the UK, but also having some interest in African Catholicism, religion, politics, and social justice. After the response, going to allow that we omit the response, or rather the interaction, partly because the speech or the lecture of Prof will be available in our upcoming Kima review, and also the response will also be there. So we will have a time to engage with the lecture, and I believe I may also pick a few things in my upcoming lectures. So the interaction, I will request the lecturers and the professors to ensure that perhaps there is a cut from this. I'm not giving any direction, it's a suggestion. So for now, just to break a bit, that at least we have an interview. Yeah, invite our dancers here for only 2 minutes. Please come. 2 minutes. As I said, this is Foundation of Hope. Our neighbors from Kibra and Mr. Dida, who is the director, has brought these young people together to innovate, to create, and even to bring what is called the rattling of feathers. These guys are really doing great. And if you have time, you can visit their center at Kibra. Dida, you have 2 minutes. It begins now. As he does that, I will put Professor Lalo to be preparing to come and give the response. In that we come to you now we need that one is the thing is hard work of our educators and also the duty of our school and also the acting director of our research institutes, the CRTP, importantly also the is adjustments, academic adjustments. What, what we need are not technocratic experts. What we need are not numbers. We need thoughts and progress and give us new visions, new imaginations and dreams. I'm quoting Professor Datlante. Thank you, Professor Datlante, for the stimulating and provocative lecture. As always, you challenge us to go beyond technical fixes and to reimagine the future of the continent and the world through creative and healing solutions grounded in unconditional love. You contend that in pairing lament and hope, it's not about doing more preaching, it's about doing prophetic context. Since this lecture is taking place in the Jesuit University, I'd like to draw briefly further between your lamento paradigm and the redemptive framework of the spiritual exercises of Ignatius of Loyola, which is a foundational source of inspiration for every Jesuit institution. You argue that, and I quote, hope begins with an honest assessment that we are in trouble, deep trouble, serious trouble, and of hope. In other words, hope begins with deep and earthly lament, which in sociological language we might call sound social analysis and thinking.
those familiar with the spiritual exercises will recall the important place Jesus gives to imagination in meditation and contemplation. And more importantly, the ability to see and feel the human condition. For example, the contemplation of the incarnation encapsulates the lamento paradigm highlighted by Professor Katongo to some extent. St. Ignatius invites the recruiter to use his imagination and senses to picture two realities. On the one hand, the sad reality of fallen humanity as source of lament. On the other hand, the hope-filled redemptive action of the Trinity, which begins with the incarnation. Let me just quote Ignatius briefly from the spiritual exercises. And this is the contemplation of the incarnation. He says this. The first point is talking to the people. The first point is to see the various persons and first those on the surface of the earth in such variety, in dress as in dress, some white and other black, some in peace and others in war, some weeping and others laughing, some well, others ill, some being born and others dying. Then, to see and consider the three divine persons as on their royal throne, how they look on the surface and circle of the earth, and all the people in such lives, and how they are dying and going down to hell. And this is deep talk. Dying and going down to hell. And then you see Our Lady, that this is you see Our Lady and the angel who is saluting her. And reflect in order to get profit from such a sight. Second point, to hear what the persons on the face of the earth are saying. That is how they are talking with one another, how they swear and blaspheme, and likewise, and this is the open covenant of truth, to hear what the divine persons are saying. That is, and voting against it should let us work for redemption of grace and of hope to grace. Indeed, redemption requires the acknowledgement of one's sinful condition. And it is a way in which the first thing of the spiritual exercises can be described as a deep personal experience of lament, sustained, however, by the hope of redemption. St. Ignatius invites the pupil to meditate not only on one's personal sin, but also on the sin of humanity at large. Insistently, the grace asked for during this week is, and I quote Ignatius, to beg a great and intense soul and tears for thy sins. And of course, these tears are meant for one's personal sins and the sin of humanity at large, the hope of these relief and tears of lament over one's personal sins and the sin of humanity at large in the And as you are doing this, what is instructive about the lives teachings is that they are a reflection of God's nations. Obviously, lament in your life is the social issue of both society and church. Moving beyond personal sin to point to the structural and social dimensions of sin. Jeremiah, whom you describe as a political theorist, not only of this country, is indeed not looking for quick fixes, but for a new vision of society. Actually, that as a prophet, Jesus is the truth.
participating in the political task of the people of the new society of hope to be born out of a new covenant between God and his redeemed people. We refer to this new order as a social vision founded not on violence, but on non-violent love or on the civilization of love. The question, of course, is does this new vision ever translate into a concrete political order, or does it remain at level of an energizing hope? On a historical note, I want to suggest that the Jesuit, those who are familiar with the history of Jesuit, the Jesuit reductions of Catholic in the 18th century were probably one of those attempts to move beyond imagining an alternative social order to actually building one based on love and unity. The Jesuits did not simply critique the violence and exploitation of the colonial order in Latin America. They attempted to protect indigenous people from enslavement and exploitation while creating new communities organized according to different conceptions of human dignity and social relations. Precisely because this is what dangerous and reach, and precisely because, according to a different, precisely because this alternative order challenged established colonial and economic interests, it eventually came in conflict with the powers of being. The Jesuits were expelled from Portuguese territories in 1759 and from the Spanish Empire in 1767 before the society itself was suppressed in 1770. So when we invite us to be blessed, because we are here for the danger of being. But here comes the biggest challenge thrown at us so eloquently. Can a human be the place of formation of the next Sankaras, Wangari Maathai, Chapa, meaning crazy people who are grounded in love and hope? This leads to a further question that we mentioned in the talk about the pedagogy required to produce inspiring figures such as these. The problem is that these kinds of leaders are rare and tend to spring from nowhere. But you are referenced the necessity of training critical minds, especially in a world where the humanities and social sciences are under attack in favor for more technical subject and technical fixes points us in the right direction. I would like to conclude by suggesting that one such empowering and transformative pedagogy is that of the spiritual exercises of sanctification, which I mentioned earlier. In the early days of the society, the spiritual exercises conquered and transformed people like St. Francis Xavier. And in more recent times, of course, than you are referring, Bishop Winslow, whom you mentioned, Ignatius of Loyola saw the spiritual exercises as a tool for forming crazy people who are grounded in love and courage. Francis Xavier and many other crazy people in the society of Jesus as known throughout his history. Some perhaps were too crazy and led to the suppression of the church of Jesus. Ignatius himself defines the purpose of the spiritual exercises as follows: to conquer oneself and regulate one's life without determining oneself through any affection that is discordant. This may sound too individualistic or personalistic as a spirituality,
especially given the urgency of confronting the social ills of our world today. But I think that it's a useful complement to the lamentable part. The genius of the inspiration relationship with spiritual exercises lies precisely in his understanding that the disorder we see in the world begins with the disorder in the human heart of sin. And therefore, any attempt to kill the world without first allowing God's grace to heal one's heart is ultimately bound to fail. And it's actually very destructive to see it. It makes first try to fix the world with their bodies, battles, arms, and it didn't work. And he ended up just trying to fix himself. We all know that he spent almost a year trying to conquer himself. In other words, we can't really conquer the world. The new vision we need is that not get first onto this. And so the dialectics, last Chopin, the dialectics between personal needs and social needs, between internal business and external business, concepts you use, points to the dialectic between personal redemption and social redemption. It shows that social redemption ultimately begins in the heart of every human being. We are all familiar with Gandhi's injunction in end social interventionism. Being a simple, we want to see in the Lord. Any social transformation that neglects personal transformation is doomed to become a quick fix, which is often the temptation of politicians, as we like to respond, who tend to think primarily in terms of what can I possibly achieve during a single term. I'm reading newspapers in Kenya, and these days they are already talking about Vision 26. But the context of campus what I Vision 2030. Anyway, the redemption in the Eastern sense of term, or theoretical sense of term, redemption to which we are called to participate as God's collaborator is not about quick fixes. It's not about technical solutions, but about healing humanity and peace. This is precisely what we need are not democratic fixes. What we need are not promises. What we need are hopes, prophets who give us new visions, new imagination of things that will inspire and guide our actions to fix the world. Thank you.
How much research to summarize or add anything to what has been said? What I would like just to emphasize and to mention is that the challenge, the three proposals that Professor Katogole mentioned, I think one of it is that Ekima has no choice than to become one, a construction site with all its chaos, but what comes out, but also, secondly, it has to become intellectual. We have to develop an intellectual battlefield, something that the Society of Jesus is entrusted, but also something that slowly, by using the words of the former Superior General Adolfo Nicholas, is that we have a big problem of superficiality, lack of depth, lack of depth. Let us clap for love. The MC, by the way, in any occasion is actually endowed with a lot of powers because, as you know, even the principal will still come and ask for a mic, even if he wants to change the program. So for me, I use my privileges very well. I don't know is that. And for now, I would like to invite Mrs. Mohoro to come forward. And Mrs. Mohoro, who is the chair of the council, is going to appreciate our guest speaker. May I, with a lot of humility, invite you, Professor Katongole, to come forward. And Kingston, or whoever is taking the photos for Hekima, I would like a memorial photo. So would you come forward, Mrs. Mohoro, just at the center? I'll go away so that I don't appear in the photo. And then I will request you to award Professor Katongole. If you come at the video here, it will be very good. Thank you very much. Asante sana. May I request the center to help the prof with the gift and to keep it safely. I don't know the contents, but Hekima is not very big, so that I will see. The second point is to invite the Reverend Father Chizito Chiyimba to come forward and also invite Professor Lado. Please, thank you, Professor Lado. Please come forward. And I know you have read the paper of Professor Katongole, and I can say he's not such an easy read. And as you know, those of you who know let me not give the example, but it's not an easy read in this sense. To understand the man who has given us a lecture requires training. You can see very methodical. He has advised us to develop new pedagogy, and therefore that requires new reading. So, Prof, you've just come. We have not even settled. And here you are. Chizito, please, may you walk. Is my provision chasing me away? Maybe it's my obedience, I'm going away. Thank you very much. We are almost coming to the end of our program, and we are now transitioning to a very important part of our celebrations today. As you know, the reasons why we are here is really to inaugurate the 43rd academic year, and that requires also some legal dimension. For that, we are going to invite very Reverend Father Joseph Inabu, who is the president of the Jesuit Conference, what we call Jesuit Conference of Africa and Madagascar. Reverend Father Minabu is not very new to Hekima. We know him. He was the provincial for 6 years, so he visited Hekima for 6 years, visiting the scholastics here, also in the board of trustees. Now he chairs that. But also importantly is that Hekima, we are very lucky because Africama, which is the headquarters of the Jesuit Conference of Africa and Madagascar, is located in Nairobi. So our issues, we don't send emails. We go there, we just drive there. And the invitation, we are also lucky because we don't have to pay for the air tickets. We just send Benjamin with our vehicle in the streets. Father Minaku, we are grateful to have been present to Mekima, and I have to say, You are dealing with the Kima in a very transformative stage. And so sometimes, don't worry when we said Benjamin too many times to bring letters. It is just that we hope for the best. And I know you have a Kima at heart. At this time, Father Minako, we welcome you to open, or that in your discretion you may decide not to, but we hope you will, to open and declare this academic year open. Please, you are most welcome.
Good afternoon. It's been a wonderful morning. So, drawing from the inspiration, drawing from the from which we've done since this morning, drawing from all the teaching we've done today, drawing from all the speaking we've heard, done with competence, grace, and poetry. I have a confession to make. I feel grateful. I am confident to declare open officially the academic year 2026, 127 here in the Human University College. Thank you. Thank
Then, as I told you, Father Minako is very gracious to us. He has declared this year open, so the students, I think the first assignment should have landed in your inbox, in your inboxes. And I hope you have seen the timetable, by the way. Those of you who have classes at 8 in the morning, please ensure punctuality. But as we transition, this is how it goes. We have prepared a cup of tea and just refreshments to kind of transition from this hall to the chapel. I would say you may not have to overdo because there is lunch that follows. A sumptuous one for that matter. But please, after this, we shall have a short break where the ushers will guide us, and I will request that we respect the protocols, we respect the table, the ushers will come and they'll usher up the dignitaries and our administrators. Then they will go for a cup of tea or some water, and then we will follow. Before then, I think uh, it would be opportune for us to know who is this excellency that we are talking about. Most excellent, we are most welcome to greet us, but also to confirm that indeed you have signed an MOU with us to be a friend of the king. You are most welcome. Represent.
you. And the last one is player. I will tell you the same thing last day. Then I was at the and when I didn't begin to do music, I had to get into the technical. Today I'm very to be here with you. I guess I see from the position, the south side, and like the introduction to you have to play. And time the south side for our feedback. I'm very happy to be with you today. Thank you for doing it, for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I now request the high table, the dignitaries to exit slowly. We are meeting in the chapel at 1:30, and 1:30, as long as the main celebrant, who is our president, as long as he's around, we will assume that everybody has entered. In the meantime, just to say, Your Excellency, the Jesuits have a lot of interest in Ethiopia. We have, as you know, in Jimabonga, we are opening a school, and we are very grateful to the federal government for the support we continue to receive, and also as you know, in Ethiopia, in Addis, and also we have also a retreat center not far from Addis in Awasa. So may you convey our heartfelt gratitude to the President and to the Prime Minister, the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, and we continue to offer our contribution, especially to the intellectual apostolate, to the people who we have of Ethiopia, and to acknowledge that Kenya, we don't need a visa to go to Ethiopia. That is something that we truly appreciate, and we hope our government will still continue to receive the gifts. May we now kindly the full exit. That's one that we are getting to the shop. The ushers, please. Thank you very much. We meet at 1:30. The main celebrant is very, very good. Joseph Nago, the board chair of the trustees.